Today on Public Eye News, feds seek new names for dozens of Michigan and Wisconsin geographic features, and Oklahoma State House approves bill to make abortion illegal.
Later, Andrew Hoover will have your weather, and Michael Cudahy will have your sports update. Hello, my name is Brendan Ford.
And I'm Madeline Plattenberg, and this is Public Eye News. Jurors enter a third day in the trial of the plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Adam Fox, Barry Croft Jr., Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta are charged with the kidnapping conspiracy. 3 out of the 4 are facing additional charges, including conspiracy to use a weapon, specifically an explosive. The trial has spanned 18 days since March 8th, including the 18 days of testimony. The plot against Whitmer was fueled by anti-government extremism and anger over her COVID-19 restrictions. The Michigan Department of Transportation plans to invest $4.9 million in rebuilding 4 bridges on Iron and Ontonagon counties with a start date of April 11th and ending on October 27th. The process will include desk replacement, substructure repairs, scour countermeasures, beam end repairs, steel cleaning and coating, and roadway approach work on M64 over the Floodwood River, M64 over Halfway Creek, US 141 over the East Branch of the Net River, and US 45 over Roselawn Creek.
Federal officials are looking for suggestions from the public for geographic features in Michigan and Wisconsin with names they've declared derogatory to Native Americans. U.S. Department of the Interior Secretary Deb Haaland signed an order in November declaring the term squaw derogatory and established a task force to work on removing the word from the names of federal geographic features and lands. The task force has identified 28 features in Wisconsin and 30 in Michigan, with a dozen being in the Upper Peninsula that need new names. A spreadsheet listing them can be found on the U.S. Geological Survey website. And interim chancellor of University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, Jim Henderson, resigned on Monday. His reasoning for this resignation is that he was upset with the survey on free speech rights that interim system President Michael Falbo sent out to students. Henderson stated that the free speech survey was not necessary due to the variety of voices to be heard at UW-Whitewater, and that Falbo originally decided that surveys would not be sent out. Henderson states that the reasoning behind the release of these surveys is because Falbo was afraid not doing so would result in a political fallout from Republican legislatures. And UW system officials will send these surveys via email tomorrow, and students will have until May 6th to complete them. And severe storms are threatening millions of Americans after battering parts of the South. Tornadoes, hail, and strong winds caused extensive damage yesterday in multiple states. At least 2 people were killed. More than 30 tornadoes were confirmed in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. Mark Strassman reports from hard-hit Bryan County, Georgia.
Those are pieces of the roof above where Cliff Horton was sheltering. A direct hit at Black Creek Golf Club in Ellabelle. He's okay. Tornadoes like that one and this one,
I have never in my life seen a tornado.
Were seen in the distance from Interstate 16 churning across southeast Georgia. Bryan County's courthouse still stands, but its roof and surrounding buildings took a beating. Just as in nearby neighborhoods where one woman was killed inside her mobile home, other houses flattened, crushed cars and trucks litter streets.
My son and my grandson had to get out the house because we were in a trailer. And so the trees were leaning like just way over. My heart was fluttering.
This woman's family was safe after a twister tore through her community in Elmore County, Alabama.
Lord help the ones that are in the path of that tornado.
In South Carolina, power lines exploded under the force of strong wind gusts that toppled trees and cut off roads. There were multiple tornado watches and warnings before the storm hit yesterday afternoon, which can only have helped save lives. But there's more misery in the forecast today. More storms are on the way across the southeast. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Bryan County, Georgia.
And after that national weather update, we will be returning with some local weather. Stay tuned.
In Zambia's Luangwa Valley, a future king was born. From From one year to the next, he embarked on a journey towards greatness. Whenever he was challenged, he'd respond audacious and bold. He was on the cusp of supremacy, a formidable contender to the throne.
Tonight at 8.
Hello everybody, my name is Andrew Hoover and I'm here with your local weather update. If you look behind me at the NMU campus, the sun's starting to show its face a little bit, but things remain a little dreary as rain continues, and it will continue into tomorrow. Looking at current temperatures around the UP, we see it in the Sault Ste. Marie, it is cloudy and 40 degrees, still cloudy and 40 degrees in Manistee, as well as Escanaba, 40 and cloudy. The sun does peak out in Menominee, where it sits at 50 with those sun rays, making things real nice down there. In Iron Mountain, it's 48, cloudy, 41 and cloudy in Ironwood. The clouds spread into Houghton, where it's cloudy and 42, and rain is coming down here in Marquette, where it sits at 44 degrees. Looking at our current conditions, as I said, rain, and more rain. Temperature sits at 44, while winds go southeast at 12 miles per hour, and the barometric pressure is 29.38 and falling down. Into tonight, the rain will continue as the low drops down to 35, and winds move southeast at 13 miles per hour. And into tomorrow, we'll continue seeing more showers as the high will reach up to 39 and the low down to 29. Winds will be moving east-northeast at 8 miles per hour. Now looking at the week ahead of us, on Friday, snow will begin again with a high of 31, snow and a low of 29. Snow will continue into the weekend on Saturday with a high of 35 and a low of 28, and the sun will just start to peek out on Sunday with a high of 45 and a low of 35. Now Madeline and Brendan have some more news for you.
Thank you, Andrew, for that weather update. And the Oklahoma House gave final legislative approval on Tuesday to a bill that would make performing an abortion a felony, punishable up to 10 years in prison. The Republican-controlled House voted 10-14, sending the bill to Republican Governor Kevin Stitt. Stitt previously stated he would sign any anti-abortion bill that comes to his desk. This bill is one of several anti-abortion proceedings still continuing in Oklahoma's legislature this year as part of GOP-led states passing aggressive anti-abortion legislation. And a car carrying containers of flammable materials crashed into the gate of the Russian embassy in the Romanian capital early this morning. According to police, the car burst into flames and firefighters who arrived at the scenes were able to put the fire out. However, the driver was killed. The case prosecutor Bogdan Staku said that the crash was under investigation and an autopsy will be carried out. The Russian embassy confirmed that no employees were injured, expressing condolences to the family of the driver. International outrage over the apparent murder of civilians in the Ukrainian city of Bucha intensifies today. The Biden administration and European allies are announcing new sanctions in response to Russian atrocities. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Police in Ukraine are examining the bodies in Bucha, documenting evidence of war crimes. In response to escalating brutality by Russian forces, the Biden administration is announcing new sanctions to ban all new investment in Russia and impose additional penalties on government officials and their family members.
What we've seen in Bucha is not the random act of a rogue unit. It's a deliberate campaign to kill, to torture, to rape, to commit atrocities.
The Department of Justice announced it's indicting Russian oligarch Konstantin Malofev for violating previous sanctions.
Mr. Malofev is alleged to have flagrantly and repeatedly violated the sanctions imposed on him while attempting to establish media companies across Europe, media companies that would help spread pro-Kremlin misinformation.
The White House says it's providing an additional $100 million worth of Javelin missiles to help Ukraine defend itself. Ukrainian forces have used the Javelins effectively to target Russian tanks, but Russian missile attacks continue to leave entire neighborhoods devastated. The BBC captured this footage from a suburb of Kyiv where blocks of apartment buildings were destroyed and hundreds are feared dead. This man said, "How can you give an order to destroy a residential district? It's happening everywhere in Ukraine." And in the besieged city of Mariupol, the city council says Russian troops are using mobile crematoriums to dispose of remains. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
After this break, Michael Cudahy will have your sports update.
I've been around the world, but there's one place I keep coming back to. On this episode of UTR, we defy your dentist and feature a bunch of places where you can get some pretty sweet treats. We'll make some candy, eat some candy, bag some candy, and talk to cool confectioners all across the state. Heck, we'll even show you some candy that'll blow your mind. This isn't Under the Radar. You just gotta see.
Thursday night at 9:30 on WNMU-TV.
Hi there and welcome back. Most NHL teams are down to their last 10 to 12 games, and so as every game starts to matter more, how did last night's games go? Kicking it off in Nashville, the Predators got on the hunt early and stayed on the prowl as they pounded the Wild for a 6-2 win. The Sabres weathered a storm in a 4-2 victory against the Carolina Hurricanes, whereas the Toronto Maple Leafs blew a 4-goal lead to the Florida Panthers in their 7-6 overtime loss. The New York Rangers won 3-1 against the Devils, and the Avalanche buried the Penguins 6-4. The Red Wings won last night against the Bruins with Alex Nedeljkovic making 47 saves in the 5-3 victory. We also saw the Dallas Stars and Edmonton Oilers get wins against the New York Islanders and San Jose Sharks, respectively. And whereas the NHL is starting to figure out its seeding for the playoffs, the NBA is almost ready to start theirs. The Phoenix Suns hosted the LA Lakers and thrashed them 121-110. The top seed in the playoffs eliminated LeBron James and the Lakers in what might go down as one of the biggest disappointments in NBA history. The New Orleans Pelicans feasted on the Sacramento Kings 123-109. And the Jazz from Utah beat the Memphis Grizzlies as the Jazz looked to take home court advantage from the Dallas Mavericks. The Bucks beat down the Bulls 127-106. They won despite DeMar DeRozan dropping 40 points in the game. The Toronto Raptors fared better than their icy friends last night, scoring 118 points and beating the Atlanta Hawks by 10. And the NMU football program has a new offensive coordinator. Dylan Chimura was a highly touted tight end recruit out of high school. He went on to play at Michigan State before going into coaching. He's worked for the Spartans, Fresno State, and the University of Iowa, primarily as an offensive line and tight ends coach for most of his career. Chimura spent the past season as the tight ends and O-line coach for Northern, and now will be back with the team this coming year. Chimura will look to help the Wildcats improve on their impressive 4-win season, and will look to get head coach Kyle Nystrom his 10th career win in his 5th season with games. And Brendan, I hear you got another story for us. It involves a little chirping.
Yeah, I sure do. Just got done talking about the Wildcats. Let's talk about birds. Twitter is going through a lot of big changes, and so will everyone's tweets. Twitter will be testing an edit button, which will allow users to change posts that they have made. Elon Musk was revealed as one of Twitter's largest shareholders and has tweeted asking people if they think that Twitter should have an edit button. However, Twitter states that Elon Musk has nothing to do with their decision. In a 2020 Q&A, Twitter said that they have contemplated the use of an edit button, but it will probably never happen. Twitter also said that adding an edit button has been one of the most requested features for years by its several users. And have you ever thought that a song has copied the layout and sounds like an exact replica of another? Well, so did Sammy Chakri when he took Ed Sheeran to court for copyright issues. This lawsuit claims that sections in this chorus of Ed Sheeran's single Shape of You deliberately ripped off of Sammy Chakri's song Oh Why. Lawyers for Chakri say Ed Sheeran either consciously or unconsciously had Oh Why in his head when writing this hit single. Sheeran won the case, stating that occurrences like this are way too common and are damaging to the songwriting industry. And that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us here on Public Eye News.
I'm Michael Cudahy.
And I'm Brendan Ford. And we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.